Here he is. Thanks,
you,
Stu.
Ray.
Thank you very much.
So, I can't come up here and talk about startups without taking a selfie for social media, so we're going to kick off with that. So just smile in the background. Awesome. Okay. So I'm here to talk to you today about how to think like a startup. But importantly, first, I think it's important that I tell you why it's important that we think like startups. So if you want to use the Twitter handle Call Campus or Steve Glaveski to tweet, you may, and of course don't forget the IBM Symposium Twitter hashtag. So a bit about me. Currently, I'm a co-founder at Collective Campus, and we are an innovation hub that works both with large enterprise and startups to help them adopt the mindsets, methodologies, and tools to successfully explore new business models. Prior to that, spent some time with the likes of EY, their advisory practice, and KPMG Innovate. But most importantly, while I was with Macquarie Bank, I founded a company called Hotdesk, which is an office sharing platform. So think about Airbnb, but instead of apartments all over the world, we're talking about meeting rooms and office space. But I'll tell you a little bit more about that story later and why it's important. So, we often hear this word disruption. And it's become a bit of a buzzword. Malcolm Turnbull took office a few weeks ago now, and the first things he said were, we need to be more agile, creative, and innovative. And while I agree with him, it's important that we don't overuse these words, because then they lose their value. And so today, I'm going to actually talk to you about what disruption means. But first, perhaps it's important to set the scene. So here we have a timeline of music players over the last 140 years. And after some quick analysis of this chart, what becomes really obvious is that the time between disruptions is getting shorter and shorter. It seems like just yesterday that I bought an iPod Classic and was using iTunes to, ripping all of my CDs, as was the term, onto iTunes. Yet now Apple's playing catch-up to the likes of Spotify and Pandora with their Apple Music service, and we're all listening to music on our phones as opposed to iPods. And so what does this actually result in? Well, according to Insight, innovation consultancy, they've found that 75% of the S&P 500 will be replaced by 2027 at current rates of churn. Back in 1960, the average company lifespan was about 50 to 60 years. That's now only 15 years, and it's estimated to drop down to 12 by 2025. And so what does this mean for us here in Australia? Well, Deloitte released a report late last year which found that 65% of our economy faces significant disruption in the next 2 years alone. And this report is now almost 12 months old, so we're well and truly into that 2-year period. So nobody is safe. I thought I'd throw in some Sylvester Stallone. His new movie's coming out soon, Creed. I'm really excited about that. Part 7. Can never get enough Rocky. Anyway, nobody is safe. So people like to think that their industry is safe because it's capital intensive. Barriers to entry are very high. But today, it's not so much about barriers to entry being high. When I founded Hotdesk, I was still working for Macquarie Bank. And I spent literally no more than $3,000 to get into the Australian. And that article then got me the Year of Investors, and I raised $156,000, some seed funding to get me going. This was while I was working full-time. And so gone are the days where you need to take out a $100,000 or $200,000 loan just to get started. And no industry is safe. So what I've done here, for a number of different industries, I've just prepared some of the incumbents along the top and what the disruptors look like along the bottom. So I won't go into all of them in depth, but I'll give you a moment to just take that in. And these were literally pulled together, each slide a few minutes, because there's just so much disruption going on. And when you're immersed in this ecosystem, it's not hard to just rattle off these names. Who's used Airbnb here? Yep. Uber? Of course. And Netflix. Everybody loves Netflix. $10 a month, why not?